might be all in your head. Talk with a counselor or maybe a psychic instead. Doesn't matter how you roll when life has taken such a toll. Clenching fists along with your screams. I'm here to heal your mind and we are here to heal your soul. Time to follow your dreams. Side by side, side by side, by side, side 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 by side.
Hi, and welcome to Side by Side, a show where we use two different perspectives to achieve the same goal. I'm Sheena Metal, and I'm a psychic medium and an energetic healer. With me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Dian Katz, who's a mental health educator. And each week on the show, we're working to get people the help and the healing that they need, side by side. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Sheena, what up? Here we are again.
Fantastic to be here with you as always. And what a year, right? What a crazy year it's been. I think from an earthbound perspective, there's been lots of weather things. There's been lots of politics things. From a spiritual perspective, lots of eclipses and crazy energetic supermoons and a 7-planet planetary alignment and a Mercury retrograde that's really intense we're in right now. So I think since the beginning of January, people are spinning.
Yeah, and for a mental health perspective, people are looking for short piers to jump off.
Right. But you have to make sure there's not a tsunami or it'll throw you back. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just astounded by the amount even of weather things there've been. And I think, and then also, if you're on social media, you see there's been a lot of people have gone home, right? There have been a lot of deaths and a lot of people have just decided that they want to go home, and that's okay. But it's just more things that those of us who are still here on the planet are dealing with. And, I think that many people almost kind of were like in the airplane crash position and have been since the beginning of the year. And I confess I have been a bit as well, too.
Yeah, it's definitely a different world today. Woo! I've never seen anything like it.
In the spiritual world, we talk a lot about this shift that's coming, right? Everybody talks about the shift. I like to call it that funky shift. That when the shift happens, then there will be I don't want to say a new world order because that's very cryptic, but there will be a sort of a reordering of things in a more spiritually balanced way. But unfortunately, leading up to that shift is the normal balance. Spiritually, we talk about the balance of the universe, right? Is the balance between light and dark. And light is always trying to bring more light, and darkness is always trying to bring more dark. And I think on an earthbound level, we see that as human beings, with those that are working for the world and then those who are just working for themselves. And I think that that's always been here. But for some reason, it seems like every year we're on the planet, the last 10 years, it's just become stronger and stronger. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't even know what to say in this area. I have to be very careful the words I choose, because you got one party over here that's feeling one way. You got another one over here and if you go on either side, you get slammed by the other person. So,
for me, there are only two parties. There's the party of light and the party of darkness. And that doesn't have anything to do with anybody's religious or political or spiritual affiliation. I think
agree.
there are wonderful people that believe all kinds of things, but then there are also people that are just, only out for themselves. Does that make sense? I mean, I guess for me, narcissism, and I work a lot in the narcissistic support community. For me, narcissism is really a form of darkness. But I would imagine for you, as a mental health educator, you would think of it more as like a selfishness or a lack of empathy. Is that right?
Yeah, and is that our topic for today? We're gonna talk about
Narcissists?
narcissists? Yeah, why
I guess
not,
it is.
right?
There we go. Actually,
There are
we did plan
plenty
it, but
of
we always
them.
make it seem like we didn't plan it, which I think is really funny.
Yeah, I would say that it is a lack of empathy, and it's just a lack of, well, it's a self-centeredness. It's a me, don't care about anybody else. And I don't know about you, but do you feel like you're seeing more of that today than you ever have? I mean,
Yeah,
what is going on in the world that's bringing out all these people that are so into themselves and can't have compassion for anybody else? What's going on? What do you
I
think?
think it's
Well, from
one. I think social media has just made it more obvious
yeah,
because people
yeah,
now post like when they go to the bathroom, what they eat, how they think about everything. Things that used to be in one's inside voice is now
yeah.
one's outside voice. So I think that's a lot of it. But I also think that, and I also think the ability to put a camera on yourself and become a star. Like you and I
Mm,
have been performing in front of audiences since we were fetuses. But for people who haven't been and now they think they're going to get this chance to post all their stuff and become, you know, multimillionaires through YouTube or whatever they think is going to happen instantaneously for them, it's
yeah.
sort of brought out that kind of latent narcissist that's always lived in a lot of people, narcissism. I also think that as we head towards this shift energetically, it's you kind of everybody's true colors are really showing. And
Yeah.
so we're seeing a lot of the things in people that they could hide before, and
Hmm.
now they can't. And also, I think the more that we talk and learn about narcissism in our world, the more it sticks out. It's kind of like when you first realize, for me, when you first realize what gay people were, then suddenly you recognize where all the gay people
They're
went. We
everywhere.
we used to have this joke in my theater because we had the biggest auditorium in the city. So a lot of other theater departments and dance departments would come in and do performances in our auditorium. And we remember when the neighboring town's dance troupe came in, we were so fascinated. We were like, there's so many gay people. Why don't we have any gay people in our theater department? Well, cut to 10 years later, there was all the gays. But you just didn't
Yeah.
identify it if you didn't know what it was. So I think now that we know what narcissism is, we're identifying it more in people in the same way that I think many people now are noticing their own spiritual and psychic gifts because
Hmm.
now it's something that we talk about. So
You know,
unfortunately, narcissists don't recognize their narcissism.
yeah.
Other people,
You're so right. I mean, they were probably always there. But once you become aware of it, there's
yeah,
actually a center in the brain. I think it's called the reticular activity center. And when you see something like, let's say, have you ever seen a car that you wanted, or a pair of shoes, or anything? I don't know what
yes,
it could be. And then suddenly you see them everywhere,
yeah,
you know, because your brain is scanning everything and it pulls out that particular item or thing because it's familiar.
yeah.
So, the same thing with narcissists, but I don't know why they just are all around me, and it's scary.
Well, and I think there are a lot of the entertainment world. We've run across a lot of them. I certainly
Yeah, yeah.
I was very ill prepared when I opened my spiritual practice for how many there were in the psychic world. I
Mm,
don't think it's probably a shock there are a lot in the psychological world, because narcissists love control. So I think you find them anywhere where there is
anywhere.
some kind of a way to control somebody else in some way. Um, yeah, I mean, but I
Yeah.
think they're all around everybody. So here's my look. I've gotten to the point where in my life, and I don't know if you have, where my urge to like pick up the sword and fight narcissism, I've just sort of it's an exercise in futility, and therefore I've sort of lost interest in it.
Yeah, yeah.
My continuing mission and service is how can I help others who have been affected by it to heal? And also, how can I help others to identify it? I say this thing when I teach that an empath will give you the shirt off their back and a narcissist will give you the shirt off someone else's back. um, we as empaths, we're always asking, like, what did I do? Did I cause this? Is this, with me, even with, relationships that were incredibly toxic with people of all kinds, not just romantic. I spend my time going over things like, what could I have done differently? Could I have shifted this? Could I have shifted that? And then I have to remind myself of all the horrible things and mean, nasty, incredibly manipulative things this person did. And I think, why am I still trying to figure out what I did? But I think that's how it works, right? And I think that our population, for the most part, is split between narcissistic people and empathic people, because it
Well,
seems
and
like that gene, right? Like you said, that's the thing that makes the difference.
yeah, and depending on what degree of narcissism you're at, will actually determine how much they push on you. So
Yeah.
for an example, gaslighting, the term gaslighting, narcissists are famous for that
Yes.
because they don't think anything is their responsibility. They are not the problem. They don't see it. So it's always you who is the problem. They
Right.
blame everything and everyone around them because
Yes.
they really can't see it. Now, you get some people who have just a little bit of narcissism and they know that they're at fault, but they're still going to blame it on you because they're pissed or whatever. But
Right.
the
Sure.
real heavy duty diagnostic narcissist personality, they don't have any clue. And you'll see a lot of them. You nailed it. The internet. You'll see a lot of them posing selfies every day, selfies, everything. And you look at their Facebook or their social media, and there's barely anything else on their their pages except pictures of themselves.
Yeah.
Have you noticed
Yeah.
that?
And many of them actually disable others' ability to comment and post on their pages
Hmm.
because they want it to just be all them.
All
And
them, yeah.
um, and I used to always think to myself when I was, when I was an actor, I'm still an actor, but I mean, when I was a full-time actor and most of my friends were actors, I remember thinking, like, who has the time? All these photo shoots. It's like you must get another photo shoot a week because you have a brand new headshot up every day.
I
Who
know.
has time for all these photo shoots? I think I've had, in my entire acting career, I think I've had maybe 5 or 6 headshots. And we're talking like
Right.
I get a new one like every 10 years.
I know. I know. My
These people,
license.
right, exactly. These people that, like, oh, I had another headshot done and they've got like 20 pictures. And I mean, I don't even think I'd change my profile pictures. I think I like keeping the same profile picture because then people identify it as you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but I also don't, have 500 pictures of myself to choose from. Um, so I've always thought that was strange. And that was before I even knew what narcissism was. And then, a lot of things I remember as an actor thinking it was very strange when I would watch a movie and I would go to an actor friend and I would say, oh my God, this person's performance was incredible. And they would say, I can't watch that movie because I keep thinking about how that's a role I didn't get. And I would think, whoa, to think about all the roles you didn't get. That would be like, Diane, if you never listened to any music because that was a record deal you didn't get. Like, who even could begin to, but there's a narrow scope of thinking with narcissists. They're almost like,
Yeah.
how, like, when you watch Shark Week on Discovery Channel and they talk about how, like, sharks' main objectives are to eat and make other sharks. That's all they do. So I think narcissists, their main objective is, how can I be the focus, be in control, be the everything, put myself in the spotlight, and nothing else matters. It's like they're
Yeah.
just preoccupied with who to manipulate and how they can manipulate their surroundings. And
And a lot of times, oftentimes it's a lot about power,
yes.
being in power.
Yeah.
How much money can I make? Um, just anything to be above everyone else.
Right. Right. How
So
much money can I get everyone to give me? How can I find a way? You feel, I just watched this incredible series beautifully acted, wonderful show on Netflix called Apple Cider Vinegar. And it's about a true life story about this woman in Australia who started following this health guru who was doing like an all holistic vegan raw diet to try to cure her cancer. So this woman, who was a fan of the first woman, decided to create her own website and faked cancer in order to get people to follow her.
Oh,
And it
wow.
worked. She had endorsements.
Wow.
She was sponsored by Apple at one point. I mean, incredible. And then they found out she never had any cancer. The whole thing was made up. So
Oh my gosh.
there are people that do that, and there are narcissists everywhere. A narcissist like isn't just a drug dealer or a mafia kingpin. Like, there's a thing, right, called the altruistic narcissists, where they're healers, and they make juices, and they're you know what I mean, they're all different kinds of things. But when you get
Right.
to the core of them, there's just nothing. And they might be very fluffy bunny on the outside, but there's nothing going on the inside. And I say that only because when you encounter them and you find yourself in a compromised position because of them, the secret is to walk away and then not to spend the rest of your life beating yourself up like you did something. It would be like if you were swimming in the ocean with four people and a shark came and bit your leg off. You can't spend the rest of your life beating yourself up because the shark bit you. You just
No.
happened to be there with your feet dangling, and you caught the shark's eye, and you looked delicious, and they bit you.
But they
I
are
know.
so good at making you feel bad.
Oh, right. The
They are
shark doesn't call you the
so
next day,
good.
tell you how it was. The shark's not going to call you the next day and tell you how it's your fault. I mean, you know what I mean? I'll take the shark any day before I'll
I
take
know quite a few sharks too.
what?
Um, I said I know quite a few sharks too. Let me interrupt you real quick because
Yeah.
we're on many platforms right now, and I see a couple people. I think they're your friends.
Oh,
Heidi,
hi,
Heidi's on
Heidi.
saying hello, and Michelle.
Hi. Hi,
So,
everybody. Thank you for
hi
tuning in.
guys. Thanks for tuning in.
We appreciate you. I'm glad you're monitoring that, because I'm just trying to balance the tripod on my bed right now.
Well, this is your studio. This is your platform that I come
I don't
into,
want
and
it to fall over because I don't have any pants on. I forgot to put pants on. So I need to
hello,
make sure the
Christy
tripod
Thomas.
stays.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when I come in here, I'm like, okay, I'm on Sheena's platform now. You come on mine, and it's a whole different world. So,
Oh, no. Okay. I want to come on yours and see what happens.
yeah, we got to try that out because I go on yours and I'm in your bedroom. I mean, how does that
Exactly.
happen?
Right. Well, you normally are in my office, but right now my office
You're in
is
my.
becoming a new office.
That's right. You're in my office too right now. That's funny.
Everything in my house is in flux. So just for now, we're getting there. We're getting there.
Yeah,
My
she's
upstairs is beautiful.
remodeling. She's remodeling.
Remodeling. Yes. It's
So,
quite an endeavor.
we have someone else who's in the middle of apple cider vinegar.
Oh,
Dana
right.
Ellis.
It's beautiful. Yes, it's a fantastic show, and there's a couple of really good ones like that. There's that, I can't think of the name of it. There's a wonderful one on Hulu with Amanda Seyfried about the same thing. This little narcissist got $40 billion or something
Oh
because
wow.
she claims she created a machine that could test your blood instantly at home, but she never actually
Oh, I
really.
remember that gal.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's like and then there's of course that wonderful one with oh God, with the girl that was in Ozark, that about the one that she pretended she was some big socialite, and people were
Yeah.
comping her rooms and all the, and so this exists, right? These people are out there, and
I
if
know
you run
that was
across one,
wild. That now
oh
talk about narcissist. That was wild about that gal. I wish I could remember her name. And
yeah,
she had some
I'll
type
look it up
of.
really quick for everybody what the show is called. And there's also a great
Yeah,
documentary, I think, on Hulu also about her.
right. And hello to Michelle and Andy. They just joined us here on Side by Side Show. Thank
Hi,
you.
everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Diane's
Yeah,
monitoring.
that show was wild because she really snowed everybody. I mean, she had something that was supposed to help a lot of people. I can't remember what it was.
It was a
Ugh,
machine that could instantly
that's
take
right.
your blood for
Took
everything
your
at home,
blood. Yeah.
get you an instant result, almost like a diabetic testing machine, but for
Yes,
everything.
that's what it was. And she had come up with this idea, which was all bull, but she was, really full of herself. She was convinced that all these things were happening when they weren't. And
Yes.
she snowed and manipulated a lot of people, but I would have to say she was definitely a narcissist.
It's
I
called
don't
The
know where she is.
Dropout. If you catch it on Hulu, it's called The Dropout, and it's
The
because
dropout.
she came up with the idea for this thing, and then she just decided she was too good for school and dropped out of her graduate program, and then decided she was going to start this big Fortune 500 company. But the scientists kept telling her it doesn't work, the machine doesn't work, but she didn't care. So
She was
that's the thing
convinced
about
too.
narcissists, is that they live in their own reality, and they'll tell you
That's
things
perfect.
like, this is my
Yes.
truth, but you have to remember that their truth isn't necessarily the truth.
Mhm.
There's your truth, my truth, but then there's also the truth, and sometimes they're saying things that just absolutely aren't true. And
Yeah.
it's you have to get really connected to your core, right, Diane? You have to get really connected to yourself so that you can decipher what's really happening from what they're telling you is happening.
Oh yeah, yeah. You have to really be willing to look at yourself. And these people aren't. And Michelle just said it was Elizabeth Holmes. Yes, I remember
Yes,
that.
Elizabeth Holmes. Yep.
Biotech fraud. Yeah. I thanks, Michelle. Thank you. Um, that was just a
Yeah.
wild,
And
wild
if you see
documentary.
her interview, sometimes when you look in it, I mean, I hate to use this, I don't mean this as a derogatory term, but there's crazy eyes, right? Crazy eyes are a thing. And sometimes when you look in their eyes, narcissists don't as much have. Sometimes people who are unbalanced have like a
Yeah, like a
vibrant
glare too. You're like looking
intelligence,
right through their head.
but narcissists have their almost like a deadness, like there's
Mhm.
nothing going on inside. And even
Yeah.
when they smile, my mom used to say, don't trust people who don't smile with their eyes. When they smile, they're not smiling with their eyes. They're just kind of, there's a dead stare coming at you. Because I really think there is an emptiness to narcissists. There's a hollowness. And correct me if I'm not saying this right, Diane, from a psychological perspective, but the thing inside of us that fills us, right? Our own light that fills us up so that we can be happy, healthy people. For
Mhm.
whatever reason, narcissists don't make that. There's an emptiness. So they're always trying to get that from somebody else because they don't
Yes.
have their own.
Yes.
So if you are a person who emits a lot of light, as narcissists do, I mean, as empaths do, then they're going to come find you like I'll find a salad bar. It's like how I find a sizzler, and and they're attracted to you because they're looking to take some of your light and fill themselves up. And that can
Yeah.
be a very dangerous situation for you. And there are people who, I mean, I don't want to get cryptic, but there are people who literally have died because sometimes when people are emotionally and spiritually draining you that much, it begins to affect your physiological body.
Oh,
And you find
absolutely.
times if someone has a primary partner or a primary family member they take care of, and that person is a narcissist, you will find that sometimes that person will get better and the person who's in their life will start to deteriorate health
Yeah.
wise.
It is scary to be around them. It is. And what you're talking about, they're psych vampires.
Yes.
They just suck you emotionally dry, and, you always feel drained being around them. You walk on eggshells around them because they're very volatile. They're gonna
Yes.
they're gonna break in a second, so it's scary being around these guys and or girls. And, I think we should talk a little bit about what do we do when we have a friend that is a narcissist, or somebody may even have a lover that's a narcissist and driving you insane.
Mm.
what do we do? I mean, spiritually, you're going to tell me probably something a little slightly different, but like you were saying, it's very difficult. It depends on the level of growth that you're at,
Yes.
because if you're really emotionally stable and you're way up here, those people are going to just be disgusting to you. You're not going to want to be around these people. Now, if you're messed up and you haven't worked on your own stuff, you might be attracted to this type of really strong personality. But yeah, if you're getting healthy, it's going to be a turnoff, and you're not going to want to be around these people.
Well, yes,
Total turnoff.
because loving a narcissist is not love, it's an addiction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They create an addiction, and you probably already have an addictive personality, which many of us do. I will admit I do. And
Yeah.
addictive people tend to be codependent, which I'm a recovering codependent. Only because of that wanting to fix everything all the time. I'm not a codependent in the sense that if I'm with you and you don't want to spend every minute with me, I cry. Like, I'm not like that. I'm very independent. But when people start like breaking my heart, I'm always trying to make sense of it. And then with narcissists, there is no sense. The reason is your little feet were dangling in the ocean and the shark
Mm-hmm.
picked you. There's not really any reason for it. But another reason the shark picked you was you emote a lot of light. And one more reason you got picked was because they know that you're somebody that will stay and put up with it. Whereas somebody else, when that kind of, hooey starts, they're like, relationship over. But, people like me, I can fix this, or maybe they'll get better, or they just had a bad childhood. Because narcissists love to tell you about their bad childhood, their bad marriage, their bad parents, everything that happened to them that made them the way they
Everything. Yeah.
were. So you
Everything that
feel
happened to
sorry
them.
for them.
Yeah. It's all
And the
about them.
thing is, yes, all those things may be true, but bad things happen to lots of people, and they don't abuse other people because of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
They're not able to take what happened to them and learn from it. Every situation that we're in, whether somebody has done something bad to us or we're just in some kind of situation that's not healthy, there's something we can get out of it if you're open to looking at it. And
right,
I
right,
would say these type of individuals do not want to open up the door to looking. They just want to keep going. And you know the kind of people they pick? They pick very, very sensitive people. They pick vulnerable people because they know those are the easiest to manipulate. They certainly aren't going to pick somebody who's aggressive and like themselves.
right, right.
So, you know, that says a lot about us too, when they're around us. It's like, oh, they picked me out of a bunch, but
Sucker!
I got this neon light always like, inquire within if you have some
Exactly.
problems.
Yeah, my mom used to say I had a light over my head that said, "Y'all come." Yeah, so yeah, they filed in.
But we're we're
It's
we're
funny because
compassionate people.
right, yes, right, empathic people, and that's there is a strange. Everybody always says, "Oh, there's a strange opposites attract draw to." I see this in the new age community with like couples therapists and stuff. There's a there's a strange draw to the empath, the narcissist, and the empath. It's such a
Oh yeah.
opposites attract. No, they pick us out because we have what they need, and they know we will stay. But like I talked about, Diane, how it's an addiction. Once that addiction is broken, once you realize who they really are and what you were in for, then it's like all the feelings are gone. It's so weird. It's like the relationship never happened. Like you still remember the trauma and the drama, but the feelings are just gone. It's not like a normal situation where, oh, I still miss my friend. Oh, I still miss my lover. Oh, I still miss my sister. No, you're just like, oh, I am done. And but it takes a long time to get there. And it's getting there that's the struggle.
Right. And if you are still attracted to that person or you still want to be around that abuse, that says something about you. That doesn't
Right.
say so much about that person. That says
Yeah.
something about you, that you still aren't healed in some area. Because I'm
Right.
telling you, once you're healed, and I too, I'm guilty of it too. Years ago, I'm talking a long time ago, decades. Okay, maybe not decades, but I too was codependent, and I picked these dysfunctional people and relationships, and I fought tooth and nail to keep it going and make these relationships
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
But now I look back and I think, God, did you disappear, Sheena? If I were still there and I had met someone like that, I would run the other way, because I'm at a place now that is just a turnoff. And I love when Sheena disappears and it's all me, because I'm a narcissist right now. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Sheena's got it rigged to her phone, and she had to use her phone from her bedroom. And every time someone texts her, it dumps her. So she'll be back in a minute. This happened the first time we did this. Actually, it's happened many times. And here she comes. Here she comes. Spinning ball. Come on back, Sheena. Or just, there you are.
I'm back. Sorry about that. We're having technical difficulties. Please stand by. I'm going to blame the darkness. The narcissist.
Oh, that's okay. I got to be a narcissist for a few
How did
minutes.
You were telling an amazing story about your own struggle, and I feel bad that I disappeared in the middle of it, like I didn't even care, like a total narcissist.
That's okay. I still share the story. Basically, in a nutshell, I was just saying that, in the olden days, I would be attracted to someone. I might find out once I'm involved that this person is a narcissist. They're all about, this person's all about them. And when I got healthy, and I learned and I worked really hard on myself, whether it be one-on-one therapy, some groups I went to for awareness. When I got healthy, those kind of individuals, if they got near me, they grossed me out. I don't mean to be rude, but they turned me off. I don't want anything to do with these people now, because it's like,
surely, yeah, me too.
I can't have a mutual talk. I can't have a mutual conversation without, if I say one thing about myself, they sit there and internalize that and see how that relates to them and what's going on with them. And suddenly they're talking all about, them. And I'm like, what is going on here? Why can't I get a word in edgewise?
Yes.
That's frustrating for somebody like myself.
If you get involved with somebody, and I know there's all these clinical buzzwords when it comes to narcissism that everybody in the community uses, and I try to stay away from those. But I will say there is a love bombing. It's what they come on strong, and you're the most wonderful person in the world, and all they want is to be with you. And oh my God, we found each other. Isn't this beautiful? And then it takes a month or so for your heart to really get invested. And as soon as they think it's safe, then they flip, and everything about you is wrong, and you never did anything right. And then sometimes if you leave, they'll come back with the love bombing again, and they'll do it again. And then as soon as you feel comfortable, then it all starts again. So, you were asking me what I thought the solution was, and thinking I was going to give some big highfalutin spiritual answer. And honestly, my solution is run. Just when you
I said that.
Yeah. What it is, back away slowly, and when they can't see you anymore, turn and run.
But you have to be well enough to know that. You have to be aware enough to say, this isn't good for me. This is not going to work. You actually have to be, when you meet people, whether it be platonic or a relationship, you have to be able to sit there and go into the future and see, what would it be like with this person if I were in this situation? How would this person and I deal with this? You got to be way ahead of yourself in your mental thinking to see it through, because if you're not, you're going to just stay in that moment of everything's joyful, and then all of a sudden, whoa, what happened? Why is this person yelling at me and throwing in everything but the kitchen sink? So you have got to just look outside of this person and see what it would be like in your future.
100%.
And that
Yeah.
that helps you with awareness, of yourself. So,
And one of the most important things I think to look for is, how do they treat you when you're happy, and how do they treat you when you're down? Because those are
mm,
the two
good one.
places where narcissists will get you. When you're really happy about something, how do they treat you when you get the new job or the thing you always wanted? And then how do they treat you on the days when you're sad, or how do they treat you? What are they like around your friendships and relationships with other people?
Yeah.
What are they like with your grieving? Narcissists hate grief because they don't feel anything when someone dies. So when somebody dies and you're sad, it almost makes them angry. I think it makes them angry because they get jealous, that they think that you care more about the person who died than you care about them. But
Yeah. They also don't like to see you weak. They don't wanna see a weak person.
no, they
Even
want
though
to
they
keep you
even
weak.
though yeah, they wanna keep you
Yes,
weak,
they want to keep you
but
weak.
when you are weak, it bothers them.
Yes. How do they handle when you cry? These are all
Oh,
things to watch out for.
yeah,
What are their other friends like? Are their friends really friends, or are they like worshipers or minion?
yeah,
Because oftentimes narcissists only have people around them that worship them. But there are different kinds. I mean, there's an antisocial narcissist, which is somebody who doesn't really have any friends. Like, you meet somebody, you get involved in a relationship with somebody, and you're like, where are the friends? Nobody's around.
yeah,
So that can be that too. Sometimes narcissists are enormously popular and they have hundreds of friends that are like their zombie followers, but
yeah,
sometimes they have none. So you have to watch out for. I mean, I've learned, and I'll be honest, Diane, I didn't figure it all out 20 years ago. We're talking like relatively recently, in the last bunch of years. Um,
yeah,
you have to watch how they react to how you react, because a normal person makes an extra effort on days that are hard for you. A normal person is more tender with you when somebody you love dies. A normal person um, is happy for you when you're happy, like it's a holiday or a good thing happened for you. You really have to watch that. You have to not listen to what they say sometimes, and watch what they do and how they act, and what's really in the words that they're speaking, and the
mhm,
feelings and the emotions and the intentions behind those words. Does that make
yeah,
sense?
yeah, and I think it's actions and words because they are very good at words, but are you feeling what they're saying? They could be saying, "I love you." And you're like, "Ooh, I feel loved," you know? I mean, you really have to listen to how they're saying words. If they say, "I love you," then that you're does this make sense? I mean, you're
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
they're putting I know, I just thought of it. They're putting emotion into the words when you're healthy, but when you're not healthy, it's just the words. They're
Yeah.
empty.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
But
yes, I agree with that 100%. And if and they can shift, and you have to feel the intention. I mean, if somebody says to you, "I love you so much, but I want to tell you something," and then it's a litany of what a piece of crap you are for 20 minutes. The "I love you" is just a way to keep you so that because an empathic person will focus on, but they said "I love you" first. Like, we go to the good thing,
yeah,
right? But what about the
yeah.
"I love you"? So they'll throw things out like that. They'll act like every mean thing they're saying is under this blanket of caring, or "I'm just letting you know." Or they'll do the typical narcissist thing where they'll say, "Well, I love you, but these people told me that you're X, Y, and Z." They'll pretend other people said the
Oh, yeah.
things that they're really trying to say.
Oh, I know somebody who does that all the
And
time.
that is such a sign of a
It's
malignant narcissist.
yeah, they again, you cannot take responsibility,
Right.
has to blame it on someone else. Even if it's not you they're blaming, it could be it could be 10 other people. So,
I always think about Othello, which is my favorite Shakespearean tragedy, where, Othello was this king, and he had a great wife, he had a great life, he had great friends. And then this little, nasty narcissist comes into his life and just starts whispering in his ear. And by the end of the play, everybody's dead. And it's basically that slowly but surely, this character Iago breaks Othello down into believing your wife is cheating with your best friend. This one's trying to take your job. This one wants to kill you. And it's so convincing that this man
Mhm.
goes from having a normal life with all this love around him to believing everyone has betrayed him and starts having everyone killed and doesn't realize the trouble is coming from here. And I think that that is often the case. I mean, we find that
Watch your
sometimes,
back.
right, sometimes even behind great dictators, there was
Yeah, yeah.
somebody doing this. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And that's what you have to watch out for. It's interesting because uh, when I teach all over the country, I did before COVID, people would say things to me about, like, what do you think about the fact that this political group and that political group can't get along, or this religious group and this religious group can't get along? And I always say, you know what, it's not about this group and it's not about this group. It's that somewhere there is someone or someone's that are benefiting from everybody being at each other's throats. And narcissists,
Oh,
well, my mom used to call it "let's you and you have a fight" syndrome. They'll put two people against each other and then just sit
yeah.
back and kind of smile because somehow they get like a thrill out of that. So they feel like as long as everyone's fighting and doesn't like each other, then they're popular and everyone loves them. And so I think sometimes, like, if you are suddenly start having a problem with a friend that you never had before, and you can't figure out why you're fighting or why you're mad or why they got this, look at the people in their life around them, because somebody might be the narcissist and might be causing problems between the two of you just to do it. And I think that's where a lot of times people get confused about narcissists, because they're trying to look for the why. Like, why is this person doing this? Why would what how does this person benefit from this? And oftentimes
Mhm.
they don't benefit, like you said earlier, right? They just want the power. They want to be able
Yeah,
to manipulate everybody. There isn't a clear-cut benefit for them. It just feels good to play puppet master and act like everybody's part
right.
of their ant farm.
Well, we should still talk about, what to do if you can't leave. I mean, we talk about
Sure.
run, but what if you can't run? What if it's a boss? Or what if
Or
you
a
really
family,
love your partner? What's that?
yeah. Or a family member.
Yeah, or yeah, a family member or just somebody that you can't just turn away from, but they are very narcissistic. What do you do? And I'm sure you have plenty we have to be the light. I know I'm jumping on your page, we
Be
have to
the
be the
light.
ones that demonstrate all the
Yeah.
behaviors we want to see.
Right.
But I also think that we need to stay strong with our boundaries. We need to know exactly what we can handle and what we can't handle and stick to it and make it clear to this person, I'm not going to put up with this. If you're going to treat me like this, I'm out.
Yeah.
And you really have to live up to those boundaries. I mean, you
Yeah.
couldn't say that to a boss, but with the boss, you could just say, this is what I'm comfortable with.
Right.
And if you
Well, yeah,
can't deal with it, you need to quit.
I think that's very true. I think that I always say energetically. I'll start with this first, Diane, if this is okay. When you have somebody in your life, so let's say it's your sibling, and I don't have siblings, but you do. Let's say it's your sibling, and you find out they're a narcissist. Obviously, you can't never talk to your sibling again, especially if you have parents involved. But what you can do is you can pull your energy back from the situation so that you're not taking it so personally. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, if if you were watching TV and you saw somebody on the TV say something that offended you, of course it would bother you, but it bothers you at a distance. You kind of go, ugh, but consider the source and that person, ugh, and I just won't watch that anymore.
Right.
When it's somebody in your own life and they do it, you have to take yourself out of it. You have to remember it's not personal. They're not doing it to you. They're just doing it because you're around. They would do it to
Mhm.
anybody who was close to them. It's not personally about you. And you have to put distance there. I always tell my clients, it's like the two of you are here right next to each other, but you pull your energy all the way back so it's not right up here. You
Yeah.
don't have to viscerally allow yourself to be affected by it. In the same
Yeah.
way that, like, if you were a bank teller and someone came to get money from you and then they stuck their tongue out at you, that wouldn't ruin your whole day. You'd just be like, wow, it's what a jerk. And then you'd go on with your day. You have to do
Yeah.
the same thing because because narcissists, it's not personal. It's not you.
Right.
It's just
You know,
them.
I'm going to jump in here and I'm going to
Please.
disclose something here. Uh, I had this situation somewhat with my father for many years, many, many years. And by the time I was healing myself, uh, I did establish my boundaries with him, which changed everything. But I wasn't ready to do that for many years until I was much older. And,
Right.
I had this bravery moment, and I went for it. But also, what I did was I put the responsibility where it was supposed to be. And what I
Good.
mean by that is I realized that my dad had these issues. It wasn't me. It's just exactly what you're talking about. I realized it was him. And that took me out of it and made me not personalize it. And it actually made me feel sad for him because
Yeah.
I thought, wow, he is so not aware. And I don't know where he probably learned it from his childhood or whatever, some trauma that he had, which made him this way. And I mean, I'm not going to say he was an extreme narcissist, but there were bits and pieces that, affected me. And I just think that when I was able to pull myself back and look at him as poor guy has this issue, and I need to accept that because number one, he can't look at it. He doesn't want to look at it. But number two, it's not my business. It's not me. It's
Right.
him.
Right.
And as soon as I did that, it was like I healed our relationship. I was able to be in his presence, have him be a total, narcissist, yelling, screaming, whatever he did. Sorry, Dad. And I was able to say, that's my dad. There he goes. And most of the time I was able to detach. That's the word right there.
Yes.
Detach
You have.
from these people who
Yeah.
who aren't going to benefit you. These people who are going to make you upset all the time. If
Yeah.
you can't do anything about it, detach emotionally from them and you'll see a huge, huge difference because then you'll go in and you'll get your strength. You'll feel empowered. You'll go in and
Yeah.
you'll be next to this person and you're like, this isn't bothering me. What's going on? This guy doesn't bother me. And it's great. It's a great feeling to know that you just empowered yourself. So
Yes.
detachment,
I
detachment.
agree. Detachment and then heal. So my father also was a narcissist, and that's not the first time I've ever said that into a camera. It's not a secret. I hope other people can learn from what I went through. Um, my mother was an extreme empath and a codependent and made all kinds of excuses for him. And even though she was the stronger of the two, and it was very much a matriarchal household, she never would cut him loose. And I never really understood that until after he died. And she was at the end of her life. And I understood how scared she was to be alone because of, being abandoned and orphaned and in an orphanage and all kinds of things. And then being adopted by people who sort of abandoned her. She had a lot of things and I never knew she had because she was so strong. And because, as I like to say, Scorpios have secrets. So she kept a lot of that very close inside of her. Um, so I think I had done a pretty good job my whole life of dealing with him because we never really had a relationship, even though they were together and he lived in my home, or I lived in his home, as the case may be. But we never. So I always thought it was kind of a nothing burger, and I was always so happy that my mom had sort of been honest about it. I don't pay attention to him; he's an ass, so that I didn't have all that guilt wrapped around me, and I wasn't so messed up. But then a very strange thing happened. I started dating, and so many people that I've been in relationships with were so like him. And the weird thing was when I met them, I always thought they were like her. I thought, oh, now I've met this wonderful, soft, empathic person. And then when the truth came down, they were like him. So, and I say this only because there are stages to getting away from a narcissist. And the first stage is, yeah, you get away, you detach. Whether you're physically getting away or you're just emotionally getting away, you detach. But then the second phase is you have to heal sometimes from what they've done to you and from what they've said to you, and really heal, not just push it away or stuff it down, but really work through it and heal. And then the third phase is you kind of have to look yourself in the mirror and admit that you participated in it. It doesn't mean you weren't victimized, and it doesn't mean you weren't targeted, but you allowed it to go on. And in that sense, and you allowed it to hurt you. And in that sense, you participated in it. And you have to just tell yourself, I was a part of this. And I understand now why I was a part of this, but I want to get healthy so I don't have to be a part of this again. And that is the hardest thing, because if you don't do all three phases of that, right, then the pattern will come back and keep repeating. And those kinds of people will keep finding you.
Absolutely.
They can almost smell your wound, right, Diane? They can feel you.
Smell your blood.
I can smell the blood. And they will come back, and then it won't be the same person, or sometimes it is, but it'll be the same type of person. And you have to get to the point in your life where you say, I don't accept this anymore, and I don't want this anymore, and I don't want anybody like this anymore. And it's hard. It's
hard. And again, you can be around these people. I mean, if you choose to, if there's some connection in some form that you need to be around this person, but you have to work on that detachment.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get through detachment, you're going to be codependent, and you're going to feel everything. Sheena, I want to say hello to Bridget from Germany.
Hi, Bridget. How are you?
Hi, Bridget. Nice to have you from Germany. Yay.
Oh, from Germany. That's so exciting. And you know what, my friend, we're out of time. How did that happen?
How did that happen?
Narcissism part 2 sometime. I know. We're going to help people. We're going to help you get away, stay away, and heal and get happy.
Yeah, that's right.
We can.
Thank you all for being here.
Side by side, run from narcissists. Where can people find you online, my friend, and where can they go visit everything you're doing?
Well, I am actually starting to do some of my own personal videos on my Facebook page itself, Dian Katz. And then you can find me at facebook.com, Dian Katz Band, or just diankatz.com. I'm all over the place. And somebody has written a very lengthy text here, or message, but I can't read it at this moment. Anyway, that's where you find me. And you won't find me at a party full of narcissists. That's for sure.
You may find me at a party full of narcissists.
Yeah,
but I didn't
that's true. I may have had 10 margaritas and be detached.
I'm just trying to find a way to get home. You can find me at sheenametalspiritual.com. I'm a psychic medium, energetic healer. I've got a practice. I do all kinds of things. Go check out my website everywhere on social media at Sheena Metal. And again, we're on Facebook at Side by Side Show. And you can also go there by going to sidebysideshow.com, or look for us on iHeartRadio, or look for us on YouTube. Any place that podcasts are found, you will find us. Such an honor to always be here with you, Diane, on this show. Every week you get 2 different perspectives on the same thing. Hopefully it helps you. Maybe it heals you a little bit. And that's what we're hoping for.
That's right.
I'm Sheena. This is Diane. This is Side by Side. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you soon, guys. Say you have a problem, think it might be all in your head. Talk with a counselor or maybe a psychic instead. Doesn't matter how you roll when life has taken such a toll. Clenching fist along with your screams. I'm here to heal your mind and we are here to heal your soul. Time to follow your dreams. Side by side.